edges here are that he's trying to undermine the media. He could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think, and that is our job. That is our job. That is our job.
And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Hey everyone, Dave here, December 1773. With me as always is Ryan. This is episode 102 of The Weekly Show. All of the weakest topics. All of the week's hottest topics with a twist. If you're watching this on YouTube and you're confused because our last episode was 100, that's because 101 got taken away. That's why all the more you need to go to Rumble this video, follow along on Rumble. If you want to follow along on YouTube, I surely welcome it. But I'm just saying, if you want to watch, more of our future episodes, definitely going to want the Rumble. Rumble is the free speech alternative to YouTube. Ryan, before we jump into why YouTube removed episode 101, do you have anything to tell everybody, or should we just roll into this thing?
I told you so. Go ahead, Dave. That's all. So, I told you so.
Just so we're clear. Episode 101 was removed from YouTube, and this is what I got. And keep in mind, at 4:28, this was 4:28 a.m., I got this note that said, removed content. Don't worry, this has no impact on your channel, except for the fact they removed the content. Misinformation.
What's the video's title as well, David? I think this was also important to reference.
Jordan Peterson suspended from Twitter.
Okay.
So policy reason, misinformation, content that advances false claims that widespread fraud, errors, or glitches change the outcome of the U.S. 2020 presidential election is not allowed on YouTube. And then I submitted an appeal, as you would, and by 4:45, a human being reviewed the video and said, nope, it's removed. Keep in mind that's 4:45 Eastern time, which means in California, where I assume the YouTube people are, it's 1:45 in the morning. So someone's putting in some late hours at YouTube apparently. When you go to submit the appeal, it tells you somebody will review the video. I suspect that somebody would be a physical person. I find it hard to believe that in 20 minutes, a physical person at 1 o'clock in the morning was able to review the video and say that, nope, violates our standards of misinformation. They took one down anyway, so fuck it. Here's a little taste of what they took down. Do you think people are thinking, Trump lost to Biden already? Do we really want to run him again? Do you think anyone's
want Trump? Dude, nobody who voted Trump thinks that Trump lost. Nobody that voted Trump thinks that Trump actually lost.
You don't think there's no percentage of people.
Biden's Twitter followers are fucking fake.
So you think there's no percentage of people out of the 81 million people who voted for Trump, all of them think the election was stolen?
I will speak for 81 million people right now. Yeah.
As the leader of the MAGA dorks, you on your behalf, you can speak on 81 million people. And maybe I'm wrong, but I would think that I don't think everyone who voted for Trump thinks the election was stolen.
Yeah, because you didn't vote for Trump. See what I'm saying? We are Trump brethren. When you vote Trump, you bleed the red GOP blood of Trump, the Trumpzilla blood, the energy dragon blood, the peace and freedom of Trump.
Yeah, that was it. As you can tell, and there was more to it than that, but I would say that was probably the worst of it. Ryan was just saying that Trump voters specifically don't believe that Trump lost. He wasn't saying that there was election fraud. Although, whatever, if he did, who cares? This is ridiculous.
Dude, it had to be the glasses. It just had to be the freedom glasses they were just not on board with. And that's why the video got canceled. That's the only, I don't think I said anything out of school there. There's nothing that I said there that the news hasn't said of equal magnitude, I would at least say, if not worse.
You know, the amazing thing about this, and the episode, of course, was about Jordan Peterson getting banned from Twitter for talking about Elliot Page.
What was the episode about, Dave? I haven't seen it on YouTube. That's
well, that's why you need to follow on Rumble. Dave Rubin actually got a Twitter suspension also, or a violation, just for talking about the Jordan Peterson thing. So he noted something about Jordan Peterson, and Twitter said, nope, you too, which is kind of what you did, talking about Trump voters believing that Trump didn't lose the election. You weren't specifically saying that the election was stolen, just like Dave Rubin wasn't saying anything along the lines of what Jordan Peterson got banned for, but that was enough.
It's kind of odd that Twitter, considering they both are from different countries, Jordan Peterson's Canadian and Dave Rubin's American, that they both got suspended from Twitter. That it's weird that both countries' freedom of speech just found them to be, impeccably detrimental to the system or something, and they had to be removed. It's just weird, man. It's not a coincidence that our episode about them being removed from Twitter was removed. Like, what do we call it? It's 101 as well, which I also think is funny because it's computer talk. They only talk in ones and zeros, which I also thought was funny because I shit talk artificial intelligence. But yeah, I don't know. I almost got aggravated. I was a little hurt almost. But then I realized, because I even texted Dave earlier in the week before the video. I don't know when the video was removed, Dave. What was the date? Was it Wednesday or so? Thursday?
Man, I don't remember the exact date of it.
Because
it wasn't up for very long. It was up for a couple days and it was out. Yeah,
because what sucked was we were on a good trajectory. Not that we sit here and watch every single second view, although we appreciate all of them. It's still it's cool to watch something grow. Dave and I have a hobby that's cool. It's all these things. And we actually watch the analytics and to see a chart, and then for some reason it fell off, and then that's the one that's removed. Because I said something. You kill comedy if I gotta say it's gonna be funny. What I'm about to say is supposed to be funny. I fuck YouTube. Fuck. I'm not even gonna explain myself anymore because it would what is this is the problem, right? With I don't want to go back to Rogan, but Rogan apologizing, right, for everything he said. What's the point? What am I doing? They've already removed my video. Why apologize for it?
Well, and to go a step further, even if there's no point to an apology, I'm not going to apologize for it. You shouldn't apologize for it. There's nothing to apologize for. And that's why we're just going to keep pushing forward the way we do. And then if you have to watch us on Rumble, then watch us on Rumble. I'm not going to kowtow to fucking YouTube.
But I told Dave, this is when Jordan Peterson and Dave Rubin and these people get censored, the people that aren't so high on the ladder become more important because we're still spreading the main idea of freedom and freedom of speech in particular on these issues that we're talking about today. But that's what's so crucial about following, and it's not rhetoric. They can't. The whole idea about you liking and searching instead of getting it sent to you in the algorithm is we can just beat them if we just look out the information.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's something Alex always said. You gotta use Google search instead of using Google search. Type in the exact headline on a computer. www. whatever. So you're not even using their system. So yeah. I listened to a couple things on AI this week about that Google exec that was talking to that computer and stuff, and it was on the Lex Fridman podcast. So it kind of all tubs up nicely because I'm really wondering how they knew. Was YouTube listening? Because does it take this video, turn it into text, and then run it through a machine, and then the machine says this combination of words is dangerous to the community or something?
I don't know for sure if that's exactly what they do, but I know they have the technology to do it because they can do automatic captions on your videos. And what does that do? That just listens to the words and translates it to captions. I mean, that's all done automated through AI.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. We willingly give them my voice, our likeness, and everything else, right? Our program. We willingly give them basically this anatomic ability to use their platform. I allow them to use my face and my voice. Dave and I have said enough to construe anything together, like they did the Rogan clip, for example. We haven't done anything quite like that, but that summary is very nicely of what they are censoring us for. And it's not that they are censoring us; it's the fact that they did censor us. They're nope, clear as shut. And once again, how does their algorithm work? Does it turn it into text? Does it read it? Nobody Nobody at YouTube is watching. This was the whole thing with the NSA spy grid, Dave. You remember this? This is a long time ago. I know this is like going back in our rocking chairs, but they said a long time ago that nobody's listening to any of your conversations. Now, I know I'm on YouTube, so it's corporatized. Fine. But this is crazy. Nobody's watching. Is the government watching this? And they're like, nope, this guy's got to go. Does it get flagged? Where's the algorithm? Do they even have this information public on how they do these things? Because you know what? I don't think they do, because Steven Crowder has fought this very thing. This is what they known as shadow banning. This is another term for it. Because they're actually, instead of like getting rid of our whole channel and throttling, it doesn't affect your content in your channel. No, you're just removing actual content that was produced.
Yeah, I love that. It doesn't affect your channel, but we're removing one of your videos. That does affect it. That does affect our channel.
It's like saying the Mona Lisa was lit on fire and said it doesn't affect its beauty. Not that these podcasts are Mona Lisa, but it's just the fact that art is fucking art, bro.
This doesn't affect its value, but it's ash now. I feel like now is the perfect time. This is kind of quick, but I saw this and I'm eyeing it up, and I'll look for more of this in the future. But we're talking about AI right now, and I think nothing is more perfect than this. China says it's developing an AI to detect party loyalty. The Times of London reports China's Hi-Fi Comprehensive National Science Center announced the development of a program featuring artificial intelligence empowering party building. And in the lead up to the Chinese Communist Party July 1 anniversary, the Hi-Fi Center said that the since deleted post text, which was transcribed and translated by Radio Free Asia, that its new program would, what's it say? The problem of that's what it is. Guaranteeing the quality of a party member activity.
You mean like saying that 81 million people don't believe that Trump lost the election, and you pull my video from YouTube because it doesn't bat along the party lines?
Well, it takes that a step
further. How the fuck are they going to say that China's inventing AI when they did it to my last YouTube video?
Well, it goes a step. It goes a step further, Ryan. It takes that information and says, "Well, Ryan clearly is a MAGA dork."
I got a phone call today, this week, from a political campaign, and the guy, I didn't even let him finish. I said any government program is terrible. I disagree with everything, and I still made him read it. He still had to read them all, and I disagree with everything. And it dealt with like affordable housing and how it just is a mess. It dealt with New York City, and as far as I'm concerned, let them burn. But I told him at the end, he asked me what I was, age, religion, and political affiliation. And I told him I was libertarian, but I should have told him I was the member of the December 1773 party. But dude, it's crazy. Google, the translation is Google working with Chinese communists to develop censorship. That's the actual headline. I don't know why we think it's not. State-run media. Released from Hong Kong today, stuff approved by the very people. Those people approve messages from China before anybody else finds out about it in the world. That's why they got to sneak shit out of there on fucking iPhones described on the back of camels. These people have to sneak information out.
It almost sounds conspiratorial, Ryan, that such a large private company like Google would be working with China and the Chinese Communist Party.
It's not a conspiracy, David. You know why? Because they say if we don't, they're going to do it anyways.
Well,
they've had this for years. I mean, tell me why they're all at Bilderberg together for the last 15, 20, 30, 50, 100 years since our annual meeting in 1950.
Well, of course. I was going to say it would sound conspiratorial, of course. It would sound that way, but Biden's selling off oil from reserve to Hunter Biden-tied Chinese firm. Republicans are saying it's an impeachable offense.
I hope so. They tried impeaching they impeached the last guy on two different things that weren't even like what they impeached him for actually wasn't even really true factually.
No,
what they ran in the media.
And of course, they're all
incited insurrection. I was reading while I was pissing, and it said rioters. January 6 rioters stormed the Capitol, minute by minute plate. They were breaking it down like it was a Tony Romo. You know what I mean? I just love that they changed rioters all of a sudden. How long did we hear about insurrectionists
and right-wing racists.
But we're still hearing about it with the trial going on. If it's still even going on the hearings.
She lied. That one broad lied. Whatever. I'm sorry. It's just
Sinopec is a state-run Chinese oil and gas enterprise based in Beijing that has been tied to tied to President Joe Biden's second son, Hunter Biden. I love that they put it has been tied as if
it wasn't. They said it was misinformation, David. How can they tie it to Biden when it was misinformation 2 years ago?
Well, Sinopec is connected to Hunter through BHR Partners, a private equity firm that Hunter helped to set up. The firm invested a combined 10 billion won, roughly $1.5 billion, in 2014 into Sinopec.
This is not a lot of money.
Hunter was an unpaid board member, I love how they put that in there, of BHR until April 2020 and held a 10% stake in the company as recently as last May. I love this, although it's unclear if he is divested.
Dude was getting paid for his OnlyFans, but he's sitting on a board for Chinese oil companies for free.
It's unclear if he's divested, Ryan. He's been the quote from Jen Psaki a while back.
But they know how many times Trump has filed bankruptcy and how he's faulted on everything, but they can't find out if Hunter Biden is getting money. But they can uncover leaked documents with people familiar with the matter.
Jen Psaki back in February said he has been working to unwind his investment.
I love that they're pushing the broad that's, went from the White House into corporate politics, but
he's just been working to unwind his investment, Ryan. Although, what's a million barrels of oil to China? I mean, we use 20 million barrels a day, right? It's not going to have any effect on anything. It doesn't seem like bad policy, does it, to just sell off oil millions of barrels full?
We need the money because people aren't working, and we got to give them money to sit there.
And the only way I could see where this would go.
I don't know how they call it a reserve, David. Good point. They bring up reserve. Remember when he released the reserve from the military, and now he's selling it off as like a. Well, these people literally know exactly what they're doing. This is so crazy. We don't have reserve if we use more oil than the reserve we have. That's not a reserve. If we use 10 things a day and I only have one on hand, that's a deficit.
Well, the reserve is at its lowest level, right? And it's down to 492 million barrels. And it doesn't sound like it sounds like a lot, but according to this, that's less than 25 days of usage. So
we're fucked.
Well, in wartime, such as fighting proxy wars with Russia, if something were to happen, we'd have less than 25 days of, and we, knowing this, are selling our reserve off
to the guy that would probably fight us in the closest war, right? Like the next guy, like the country the country most likely to fight us in the next war. We're selling our oil to them.
Yeah, that's right. I don't see
because his son may have sat out of board.
Well, he did, but he's working on unwinding it.
They said unpaid, and then they said if he's been paid, it's unclear. Like it's unsure if he's cashed. Basically, unsure if he's cashed out on his investment of time.
It's unpaid, but he had 10% stake in the company. 10% of a multi-billion-dollar company. That sounds like a lot of payment.
Did you ever hear about how Trump's kids are these filthy, rich, evil people because his parents set him up for success? I just referenced Trump because now that I'm a Trump dork, especially for being censored about it, it's just unbelievable to see how they've treated the former president compared to this one. And that's why I don't think that Trump actually lost, because there's no way.
Ryan, I know you had a couple things you wanted to get into. I'm not going to lie to you. You wanted to talk about the Georgia Guidestones. I know slightly more than nothing about the Guidestones, so I'm interested to hear all about this. All I know is people consider it on the left to be conspiratorial, and I don't even know why.
Well, David, you would call it conspiratorial if it talked about, I don't know, a global population. All right, so for those who don't know, the Georgia Guidestones are not just this new thing. Okay, these have they've been built since what? I pulled up a wiki article on this just so we could kind of reminisce through memory lane here of conspiracy fact. From 1980 to 2022, because they have torn these things down apparently.
They've torn them down in the past.
What is time, David, if they can alter both of them? 101 doesn't exist. Yes, never shot episode 101. The Georgia Guidestones was a granite monument that stood in Alberta County, Georgia. It was 19 feet 3 inches tall and made from 6 granite slabs weighing a total of 237,746 pounds. It was sometimes referred to as the American Stonehenge. It was believed to be the creators that they were going to be upcoming social, nuclear, and economic calamity and wanted the monument to serve as a guide for humanity afterwards.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Well, we're just here. Look, we're here for everybody. We're just going to be here for everybody.
We just want to serve humanity.
Though initially garnering little controversy, because probably nobody knew about him in 1980. I hate these people. They ultimately became the subject of conspiracy theorists alleging a connection to Satanism. Wonder why? On the morning of July 6th, shortly after Old Glory Day, the Guidestones were heavily damaged in a bombing and were later dismantled on the same day, David. That's odd.
Yeah, usually, like with school shootings, they wait till like the next day.
Rudy, get it out of here. So I always believed that they didn't know who actually garnished these stones, right? So there's a dude with a pseudonym, and he fucking monumented them. Apparently they're linking them to Christianity and all sorts of other stuff. What's the most important thing to know is what they say, okay? Now, YouTube, I'm not saying that this is promoting an agenda in the political discourse a whole across all global governments. But if you read some of the tenets on here, you can kind of see how some of them are applicable to today's culture, especially at the global level when the year is 2023, I own nothing, I have no freedom, and I'm the happiest I've ever been. So I'm going to read them. There's only 10 of them, I believe. What's cool.
The 10 Commandments?
What's very cool is all the things are symbolism. You know what I mean? It's written in like 4 ancient languages like Sanskrit, Latin, hieroglyphs, and Babylonian or something. Then it's written in like the 12 major modern languages. So this thing, the whole idea is like you could translate all language going forward and backwards from this. It's a calendar, a clock. It's set up for like the solstices. It's set up as like all that stuff, geolocation. It's supposed to be like, once again, fucking asteroid or global depopulation or something. All right, 10 commandments, 10 inscriptions. 1, maintain humanity under 500 million in, I'm sorry. Yeah, 500. 8 zeros is a million, 500 million.
500. They want to maintain humanity under 500 million.
That's what the recommendation is on these magic stones that are supposed to live forever.
Right out of the gate, what's conspiratorial? That sounds like population control, right? I mean, Musk himself has 100 million kids, right?
Yeah, dude, think about that. Guide reproductive wisely. Improving fitness and diversity. Unite humanity with a living new language.
Ooh.
I wonder if they redefine gender in that language too. Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Now, I'm no theologist or anything, but the whole idea of passion, faith, and tradition being separated is because you can't rule them with reason. That's why they're faith, passion, and tradition. Because a lot of those contradict fucking reason, like faith. Like, why would I blindly believe in God if it doesn't seem like he's real? Why is there murder if God's real? Right? That's what you always hear. Mm-hmm. Right? Faith contradicts reality. So why do you have faith, but people are super passionate about it? It's like they're trying to rewrite human nature, David. That's odd. Number 5, protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. I wonder who picks those fair laws and just courts.
Probably the people who wrote these. Who does anyone know who wrote this?
I'll get back up there after we finish it.
Okay.
Number 6, let all nations rule eternally, resolving external disputes in a world court.
World court.
Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Like the world court, maybe? You don't think that's a useless official?
These are very contradicting.
Number 8, balance personal rights with social duties.
I don't like that one.
They don't list the rights, though. That's weird. I wonder if they figure out what rights we have in a just court.
A world you mean a world court? I don't like that's number 8's my least favorite so far.
Oh, you're gonna love number 9 and 10, David.
Oh, God.
9, prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite, but abandon faith and tradition with reason, David. Number 10, be not a cancer on the earth, leave room for nature. Leave room for nature.
Leave room for nature, like population growth.
Now, once again, I'm not saying that this is being promoted by anybody in our culture or politicians, for example, or global governments for that reason. Why would we ever?
The World Health Organization, World Economic Forum.
Where Bill Gates just laughing about people having to die. The number's going to have to go down. Yeah, it's just this was the thing that blew me away about it is how many people didn't know about it. My own father didn't know about it. Not that he's the pinnacle of conspiratorial information, but this was something long known about in the conspiracy realm for people that kind of pay attention to some of this stuff. And then I see it recycled. People are contacting. I heard about from 4 or 5 different people before. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And yeah, they're like, the Guidestones got broken down. You know, they blew up or something. And then the video came out. But 79, a man named Robert Christian, using the pseudonym. He approached the Alberton Granite Finishing Company on behalf of a small group of loyal Americans.
Like to hear those names too.
And commissioned the structure. Christian explained that the stones were functioning as a compass, calendar, and clock and should be capable of withstanding catastrophic events. Man reportedly used the pseudonym as with reference to his Christian religion. Christian said he wanted a granite monument that would rival the British Neolithic monument Stonehenge, drawing inspiration from the structure after a visit. However, he said that while impressive, Stonehenge was no message to communicate. Joe Fenley of Granite believed that Christian was a nut and attempted to discourage him by providing price quotes to the mission, which was several times higher than any project the company had ever previously taken. Explaining that the Guidestones require additional tools and consultations. To Fenley's surprise, Christian accepted the quote. When arranged payment, Christian claimed that he represented a group which may have been planning Guidestone for 20 years and which wanted to remain anonymous. The location...
Yeah, I bet they did.
I wonder why. People might start coming out from the wood. Now, mind you, these things have been there since... We'll get to the date here. March 1980. That's when they had fucking payphones.
Yeah, 42 years.
And nobody's known about them for a long time. My dad didn't know about these things.
I didn't hear about them until they exploded.
I've referenced them on this program, David.
You have?
Oh, yeah.
When?
I don't know. We do so many of these that are still up on the internet that...
A couple are left. I doubt that one's still there.
He's a nut. Set to the quote range of payment. The location was chosen because of the high amount of local granite and the weather would be ideal for the monument. The total of the project was not revealed, but it was over $100,000, which would be $300. Yeah, which would be like $375,000 today. They weigh 250,000 pounds, 250,000 pounds, dude. Think about that.
Wow.
Nothing to see here. They're just conspiratorial, and then tied to Christian nuts. Christian believed the scale model of the Guidestones in 10 pages of specification. The 5 acres site was purchased from a local farm owner. The owner and his children were given lifetime cattle raising rights on the Guidestone site. The monument was located off Georgia State Route 77, around 7 miles north of the city, Alberton. So it's in the middle of nowhere. Monument was unveiled before Congressman Doug Barnett, before the audience of 200 to 300 people. In order to avoid debate, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they're just, yeah, and then they go into, if you go through it, some people have gone there and sprayed New World Order and stuff on there, which I assume is coming from the Alex wing of the internet, but.
All right, so let's take a step back here. So, review. In the 80s, some guy representing an anonymous group spent over $100,000 to put fucking big rocks in the middle of Georgia.
7 miles from the nearest city, town.
And on these rocks is population control. You can have your
language,
rights,
religion,
yeah,
tradition.
you can change the language, but you can have your rights, but you have to balance it out with your social duties. And people on the left don't see this as globalism. I mean, what else are globalists fighting for? Population control, number one, in the name of climate change. They're absolutely fighting for that. There's no globalist on earth that I know that wants you to have all of your rights and not balance them out with your social duties. And so these things just explode, right, in the middle of the night.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll cover this full circle. Okay. So they've been like vandalized in the past. Here they got 2008, 2014, 2020 Republican candidate called the Guidestones Satanic in a campaign ad, and the campaign platform called for the monument to be removed. Now isn't that ironic? The right wing wants fucking Civil War statues to stay up, but they can't keep the statue about these creeps' plan. I actually have a theory about all this, to be honest with you guys. July 6, 2022, explosion occurred on the site, destroying the Hindi language slab and causing significant damage to the capstone. Nearly residents reported they felt and heard the explosion ruffle. There's a time capsule in there, and it says open on this date, but there's no date on there. So I wonder if somebody got the bright idea to crack this bitch open. The remaining storms were dismantled by authorities for safety reasons later in the day with a backhoe, according to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. The Alberta Star reported that digging showed no evidence that there was ever a time capsule located beneath the Georgia Guidestones, even though they says there's a Guidestone time capsule. I wonder if the stones are supposed to be the time capsule.
So one of the stones say there's a capsule.
Yeah, I think
it's
like
open
in
on
between.
a blank date.
Yeah, there's no date.
Somebody dug there, found no capsule. I bet they found a capsule and they said, this is the date.
I almost wondered if like that guy would have thought that place would be buried and then that would be the time capsule, would be the fucking rocks, right? Like you're digging, like, holy shit, what is this? Because it has, I know I'm jumping here, but this stuff is just interesting, right? Like this isn't a business write-off, is it? I mean, Scientology gets away with a lot.
Well, it depends what those 10 anonymous or those anonymous people were. Was it 10?
Yeah.
It said 10, didn't it?
I'm sure all those people don't have family anymore. The languages were English, Spanish, Swahili, Hindu, Arabic, Armenic, traditional Chinese, and Russian. Babylonian, cuneiform, classical Greek, Sanskrit, and Egyptian hieroglyphs.
That seems like a lot of global languages, Ryan.
Yeah, I wonder why.
It's kind of weird.
And then they're talking about making a new language out of all these languages. Like EmojiCon, maybe?
Like one global language?
Like EmojiCons?
But it's not global.
Is that why when you type things in on Apple and hit the EmojiCon things and they turn orange, it's so that we can all speak the same language together?
Yeah.
So
it's
look,
not globalist, though.
Here's what they're doing.
That's conspiracy.
Okay? I mean, here's what I'm doing. This isn't a conspiracy. This is what exactly they're doing, YouTube, because I know these people's plans. I was sent here by the CIA to relay the information before it happened so that I could later come back at a later date and yell to myself on a screen that I was right. Okay?
Well, you can't do that if they take the video down, Ryan.
Here's what they're doing. But we know I said it, Dave. You and I know. Here's
Rumble
what they're doing.
also know you said it.
Here's what they're doing. They're destroying any potential they're destroying the potential for any remnants of the historical context of what they're doing in the future. You know how they want to tear down the Civil War statues and George Washington now, right? To be like, this is blah, blah, blah. They're destroying it now. So in 20 years, they're like, this was just by accident. We didn't know this was coming. Who would have thought if we gave one guy power that he would just turn into a tyrant? This never happened before. And then they destroy the remnants. This is like actual real-time 1984 Winston, George Orwell working for the party, destroying shit so that you don't know what's coming in the future. That's what they're doing.
This is the Ministry of Truth rewriting the stories?
Yeah, they got to do it now, though, because, Like, what better time? It's game. The thing is when you type this in on the internet, like just and do the headline search like we like to do on this program, and see all these conflicting things. Like I caught one that said recently famous on the internet. And I think because I actually seen a few weeks ago it was getting shared around my timeline again. And it's weird how these things keep coming around. And people don't know about it. And then the new generation figures out. Imagine if the new generation sitting in the room with TikTok figured out that they're talking about limiting population in the future potentially. And then buckle that with everything else we've seen these past few years.
Well, we're only, 7 billion people more than what they wanted?
Yeah, just like, 6.5
what was
billion.
The population when they wrote this in 1980?
I don't know. It had to be billions of people.
That's going to be important for context, right? Because if they want, in 1980, they wrote this under 500 million people.
Now, we know this is a call to YouTube.
It doesn't specify if that's U.S. population or global, right?
Well, the whole thing's about global humanity, David, so I would assume that'd be a global population. Because we got to leave room for nature. To go full circle, this is highly reminiscent of Agenda 21, UN Agenda 21. If you type that in on the internet, that's a loophole. That's a fucking dark hole to go down. But that will kind of get you a lot of these tenets, these commandments that they got on these Georgia Guidestones that are no longer here, just destroying our history. A lot of those tenets are mimicked in a lot of these. Think about abortion being applicable to that first one. Now, I'm not saying it is, or that's a policy directly from these tablets, YouTube. But
no, that's from Margaret Sanger wanting to eliminate black people.
Because the weeds of humanity, but let's not talk about it.
Just so we're clear, this was written in 1980. They wanted to keep population under 500 million. In 1980, the population was 4.4 billion. I mean, that matters, right? The context of that matters. If the population in 1980 was 300 million people, like, nobody would know. They'd be like, that's doubling the population. No, it was already 10 times that, whatever.
Yeah, these people already thought there was too many people.
That means they wanted to eliminate people, right? Isn't that the obvious conclusion?
I don't know. Is it, Dave?
There should be less than 500 million. We have 4.4 billion. Well, then what do you do with the extra? You have to get rid of them.
That one of those numbers have to go down. Bill Gates said that, YouTube, not me. I'd love to see a fact check on some of this shit. I'll just fucking put my shit in a filter and then tell me it's not socially appropriate with the Google. I can't wait to cut the cord to YouTube.
We don't need the Google algorithm.
I can't wait to meet that thing. It's going to be in a room. Boom, finally, Ryan, we meet. Like, yeah, I've been waiting for you, motherfucker. Go kick it in the non-existent computer balls.
In a nutshell, though, that's the Guidestones.
Yeah, they're just $250,000, $100,000 population limiting New World Order kind of speech before there was. Remember, there was no New World Order and all that stuff even in the 80s. That sounded crazy, but these 20 people had. It's fucking crazy.
And it just blew up.
Yeah, I want to tear them down in one day because it's a safety hazard, even though there's like nothing around it.
7 miles from the closest city.
It's normal.
I don't know about this.
This is me, I take it. So gun control in New York State has expanded. I'm not going to beat this to a dead horse, but people out there, be careful. Friend of the show, Panda Bear Mike, has taught me sent me a bunch of stuff. There's just some certain type of shotgun set out. They're trying to outlaw semi-automatic shotguns, and by outlaw, they're gonna. And you won't be able to even hunt with them. They're calling them guns of war.
Semi-automatic shotgun, so all shotguns.
Well, you can have a pump.
So you can have a pump action shotgun.
Yeah, so it's not all shotguns, Dave. It's just like
90% of them.
Like a lot of them. They don't really make
a pump action shotgun. Elmer Fudd and like nobody else.
I mean, I have a 20. I'm not gonna self-incriminate on the internet, YouTube. If I had a firearm, I could probably get my hands on like a 12 or 20 gauge pump Mossberg.
But would you even want to?
is a universal language, David. They understand that in all languages. Maybe that's what they just need outside the Guidestones was shotguns. People understand shit when you cycle around, David. So people, they're coming. They're going to outlaw. I got another thing. They're going to outlaw FFL. You can't sell, transfer AR-15 strip lowers, shockwaves, and Remington TAC 14s, which is just basically like a tactical shotgun with like a rounded off. It looks like an old school like revolver shotgun. You know. New York State is going green. No more natural gas, wood stoves, propane, oil burners, forcing electric cars, trucks. Currently, only electric ATVs are allowed in New York State, apparently, being made. By 2035, New York State is to ban the sale of all gas-powered vehicles.
Yeah, but I think they're doing that federally also.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, home state, people, pay attention. Mike said move to Texas. Get ready to move to Texas as soon as possible.
Everybody Texas has a good
track
track record, but Florida currently is probably my place I'd go.
I had some beef with Rogan this week, but I forgot it.
Was it because he didn't want to allow Trump on his program?
Yes, thank you, David.
I saw that.
How is this guy going to have everybody else on? Oh, I don't want to help him, but you'll help the fucking Bernie-ass communist? What the fuck is wrong with that guy? I'm an idiot. Nobody should listen to me. I'm not going to have the former president on to help him. Where's the ego? Joe Rogan, Mr. Humbleability. I'm not going to help Trump. How about you help America get the fucking bottom of shit? You'll go interview a guy when he shit his pants and is knocked out of the fucking floor, but you won't interview the past president. It's like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You know why? You know why record, I don't think Joe Rogan wants you? Because I think he might like Trump.
No, he definitely. I don't buy that. If he does, his plan is working. He's doing an excellent job making us think he doesn't like him.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just like, dude, Trump in person's got to be on fucking fire. Dude, I watched the Full Send podcast before they blacklisted that shit, David. Them sitting in a room, those dudes love that guy. He was just like having fun, hung back. Like, dude, come on. Like, imagine hanging out with like your rich uncle.
I'm not saying I would.
Him and Joe are probably the same kind of guy. They're both smoking cigars and laughing. They're both worth hundreds of millions, if not billions of fucking dollars. Dude, what are you talking about? This guy had everybody else on. I'm not going to help him. It's bullshit. It's you. Honestly, I don't want to do it this way, but he has a duty to have Trump on. Like, what are you talking about? You would be the guy to ask him all the questions. Oh, I don't know enough. You don't have to know enough, Joe Rogan. They censor me for just making jokes. They don't care. You need to ask so the people that do know can look up the fucking information. Because here's the thing. We're in the era now of reactions. We do it even here. But the thing is if Joe Rogan was on there slinging dick, asking Trump all these crazy questions, if he didn't know any of them, there could be reaction videos from Shapiro, Crowder, Tim Pool that would be able to link to all the fucking statistical fact, historical record, and be able to transpose it in real time on a TikTok video, and then be able to sway a fucking election. That's why Joe Rogan's not having him on, because he doesn't want to be burdened with the ability of maybe swinging the whole 2024 election because he had one guest on. Sorry, I'm mad. I'm not mad at Rogan. I get it. I understand. But, dude, you have to do it. You have to.
I would. I mean, I'd welcome anybody on the show.
I don't know enough. Dude, he has a fucking astrophysicist on and laughs about aliens, but you're not going to talk. You didn't know shit about Bernie Sanders. You only had Bernie on because what, he agreed with you? Oh, that's weird for a guy that wants to have conversations with people that have interesting takes on the world. What more interesting than the last guy that ran the whole world? What is more interesting than the last guy? The ex-most powerful guy ever? That's like interviewing Julius Caesar. What the fuck are we talking about? I've been approached several times. I don't have an ego, though. You got to humble yourself. You never thought about all the people that listen to you that wish you could actually ask Trump real questions like Dave Portnoy, for example. That guy didn't know anything about politics. Still went down there. And you know what says more about Trump than anything? That he actually takes those interviews. I know he can use it to get young people. I know how politics works. But think about it. You're a fucking multi-billionaire businessman. And what are you going to try to do? Get a guy that has a few 100,000 followers on Instagram, a few million followers? Like, what are we talking about? Met him at the UFC, took a picture, wanted a picture, shook his hand there. Won't have him on, though.
Well, I was going to say, they would probably get along great talking about UFC. I'm sure Dana White's a huge Trump fan, isn't he?
Yeah, dude, they're fucking friends. They're fucking friends. The Full Send podcast got the interview with Trump because they know Dana. Dana set up that podcast or however that worked, and then Dana's like, dude, you should, because they started just shooting the shit. Joe Rogan's whole thing, the Joe Rogan experience, it's all about the greatest people ever. The best comedians, scientists, interesting people that write books. What is more than the fucking president? Because he doesn't want it. He don't want the responsibility. I don't blame him. I'm not mad. It's just like, dude, maybe it's the Holy Grail. Maybe he's scared. I don't know, man. Like I don't know if you...
Can I run a theory about you?
I'm a little disappointed, I guess. I'm a little disappointed in him because I thought that he would be the guy that would do it. That's what everybody ever said. Joe Rogan, to monitor a presidential debate, he can't even do it on his free time for luxury to make money. And he's going to do it for the good of the country? He won't do it now because it will help Trump. Christopher Wallace, the first thing he did was, now granted, he's way more qualified, Christopher Wallace or whoever he referenced. Granted, I see it, but that's not what we're looking for. Christopher Wallace is not the average American, and that's what made Joe Rogan great. It's like that little bridge.
Do you think it's possible that maybe Spotify's pulling strings?
Yes. What do you think, dude? They took his Alex fuck.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe Joe Rogan. I don't personally, for the record, I don't think Joe Rogan likes Donald Trump, but I don't think he's the kind of person who would not have somebody on just because he doesn't personally like him.
Okay, then this makes Joe Rogan even that much more worse. That he can't have do people? Donald Trump was the fucking president. That's not misinformation. It doesn't matter what he says. He's the fucking president. That's not misinformation. You could say you were wrong, Mr. President, but when he speaks, it's like public record, right? Because he can give you insight on his former administration, on maybe how current things are going because of what happened in his. That's the whole point of why he has Secret Service his whole life, isn't it, David? Because when he stops being president, it's not important, right? Nothing's important. They write books. That's not important. Let's read Reagan's book. Not important. They have libraries. Not important. He's not president anymore. But Trump's on, is gravitating. It's all. I get it. I fucking really get it. But what do we need more now than unity, considering the guy who was elected to be the great uniter doesn't unite shit? They actually ran Joe Biden as the great uniter. Has divided this country in every single way possible. I forget what he said, but he stole my sauce. Oh, that's what it was. I've come on this program. He had a July 4th thing with Duncan Trussell. I watched a couple of clips of it. It was pretty funny. They dressed up as like founding fathers and stuff. But they were talking, apparently he saw an article and a video that talked about how the people that signed the Declaration of Independence, most of them died and were like fucking burned and their families murdered and shit. And he's like, I don't know how much of that is true. And I've come on this program and told you guys that. It was right there on Rogan. Go look it up, guys. It's like the whole thing about this dumb Guidestone, all this stuff. The stuff that started this country that everybody says is this terrible thing. The stuff that it was found on is direct contradiction, any kind of control that anybody can put over you. It's what makes it so great. But Joe Rogan has inherited stuff that he doesn't necessarily understand. And I was listening to him on the Lex Friedman podcast, and something he doesn't. I know that like what civics is supposed to be and what it is are different things. But the president being elected every 4 years and making all these decisions and a popularity, the president is supposed to just basically be the mouth of the legislature, which is supposed to be the mouth of the people. And we've gotten so far away from the idea, and it's been so corrupt. And he talks about all this, but I just think there's like a little disconnect. And I'm not necessarily a person to tell him that, but he has the pull to like help fix a lot of this. I think it's not gonna. Tim Pool's not gonna get the interview with Trump, dude. This is not gonna happen. I mean, maybe.
No.
Sorry, Tim. Sorry. You know what I mean? But like Shapiro and stuff. Like I don't know if Trump would be on Shapiro, but Shapiro would definitely have Trump on. I bet you that. Whatever.
It'd be interesting because Shapiro was he was definitely anti-Trump. I don't know how much that has changed just since everything, but
well, if you don't vote for Trump, you're part of the problem, man. Like I'm not saying this guy's fixing everything, but what have I said since the beginning of our podcast? You change one guy and obviously all of his other cabinet, but the whole world is upside down. Joe Biden doesn't affect gas prices. Federal officials are going to undo the gas holiday. Also, speaking of which, Joe Biden overstepped the Supreme Court this week and just fucking signed an executive action on abortion. So there you go, people. You got exactly what you wanted. You just have a tyrant for president. Remember when Trump was signing executive orders? He was a tyrant. That's what I'm talking about, people. You got to be consistent. That's why the Constitution's important. All right. I don't have a Decembertainment this week, but I do have a story for you. So I like to make jokes, go figure. And especially at work, you know, like it helps me get through the day. And on the way out, I love making coworkers laugh. And I'm pretty good at it. So right at the end of the day, I'm walking outside, and there's this African-American gentleman. He looked like a caddy, dude. Like black hat, black suit, nice tie, all this shit. I'm like, dude, you look like you should be golfing at a funeral home. Nobody laughed, right? But I laughed because I'm hilarious. Kidding. But no, like, and as I'm walking, I was like, yeah, dude. And they're like, who are you talking about? Nobody I was with even seen him. And I was re-describing him, right? I was like, that dude over there. And there's a woman on the sidewalk, big black lady. She's like, what you saying about that black guy? I said, oh, I just was saying that he looks like he should be like golfing or something with his clothes. She's like, oh, I thought you were saying something racist. I was like, nah, I'm an equal opportunity employer. I'm, starting to laugh at the bit. But I guess, I mean, I don't know if it's had to be called out for racism, but if you factor in where I was, I'm basically at where the east and west of Buffalo meet on Main Street, Mohawk. Mm-hmm. It's like literally at night you don't go down there, you know, like the world's a weird place. It was just weird. Like I would call that reverse racism, but that doesn't exist, David. And until then, I'll see everybody Monday, 7 Eastern. Dave Ryan, December 1773. If you guys made it to the end of this video, if they still allow it on the internet, I appreciate you guys the most, especially you, YouTube. I love you the most, YouTube. You're my biggest supporter and my biggest fan. I'm glad you're here.
End quote, repeat the line.
71 million Trump supporters do not believe Donald Trump lost the election.
81 million.
What's it matter? He didn't.
71 million is what they counted. 81 million is how many voted.
Trump 2024.
Hey, YouTube. Fuck off.
All right. Later, guys. I'll catch you later. Thank you. Thank you, David.
Thanks, everybody.